Alright YouTube, so we're back on this. We got the transmission removed. Bit of a booger, but we got it out. Not as happy as I am with the condition, or at least the oil buildup that we've got on this puppy. So you can see quite a bit of nastiness in here. And I'll turn the light on and give you guys a view. That's what we got. It's pretty nasty buildup here and there. Probably pretty typical on a vehicle with the leaking oil, rear mirror oil seal or oil pan or whatever you have it. Condition of certain items. We've got looks like the OEM throw out bearing and your fork and your boot. Also got our slave cylinder here, which looks like it's time to replace that. The boot at least is completely shot. So a bit of a struggle. I got caught up on a few things. Not sure if you're aware of how the procedure goes, but the manufacturer does recommend that you unbolt this puppy from the side of the vehicle off this bracket, and you hang this to the side. Now I loosened it up and I put it to the side, but it did get caught. So after reviewing my options, I cut that puppy off. I really don't want to have to deal with that again. So you can see where it got kind of caught up on my linkage. No big deal, didn't hurt anything other than having to cut those two pipes because I was tired of dealing with having that there. So I did order a part. So we've got a stainless steel line on the way to replace that entire unit that goes all the way from the master and replaces this unit here, this line here, all the way to the slave. So it's a complete line from the master to the slave. Now what you do lose is this diaphragm here. So if you see this diaphragm on the back, it's a damper. It just helps relieve pressure, surging. So it's more of a daily driver option where it pulses in and out to kind of help smooth, makes it nice and smooth. But we don't want that. We want good, solid engagement all the time. You know, harsh shifting. We don't need a smooth. We want response from the throttle. We want response from the brake. We want response from the clutch pedal. So there it is. It is out of the way. Took a little bit, and what I'm going to do is kind of go over the procedure a little bit, and we'll get a little more technical on the bolts before we touch the clutch and flywheel pressure plate. So I'm going to stop for now, and we'll get right back to it with some more technical information on bolts and all that good stuff. Okay, so just get a little more technical. We'll go through some bolts. But first off, we're going to go through a little bit of disassembly, as in how you get this puppy out. So right off the bat, you know, you should already have, if you've seen the other videos, you're going to have the axles out. You're going to have your suspension kind of out of the way. At least I prefer to. You have your brakes and all that stuff. You might as well take care of business right then and there. So hydraulics. First and foremost, you get those hydraulics, right? So on the hydraulic side, we've got that image earlier. This is where the soft line, the rubber line, comes and connects for your hydraulics here, and that doesn't go anywhere. That is just like a valve here. Not even a valve, it's just a port. So you've got your hard line coming across here. You know, it's going to come up across the firewall, and then it's going to hit that pressure dampener, which softens up for daily use. So from my knowledge, if you're going to be racing, it's not needed. You know, you don't want to soften up your pedal. You want engagement. So you take the soft line there and you disconnect. Now I left the hard line here and the slave cylinder connected. They're connected to the transmission. There's no point in doing anything else with them. Just leave them, right? Unless this is going to get in your way somehow, it is what it is. So hydraulics are out of the way. Now if you read the manufacturer's instructions, they say to take that hydraulic line with the diaphragm damper device, and you need to take that off and put that out of the way, because it will get stuck, and it has before. For me, that's why I'm getting rid of it. I am tired of having that thing in the way if I need to drop a transmission. Yeah, a couple zip ties, whoopee-doo, but hey, what's, you know, 40 bucks, 50 bucks for a solid stainless steel line. Next is to disconnect your shift linkage. And you've got here and here, and that's just a cotter pin with some Teflon style washers. Here's where the 3 bolts are for your shift linkage support there. You got electrical here. You're going to disconnect this is your vehicle speed sensor. On the other side, you've got the reverse. I just left it attached. Obviously needs a little refresh, but it's there, no big deal. So you've disconnected your hydraulics, you've disconnected the shift linkage and the housing, the 2 electrical components, your vehicle speed sensor, and now you've got your reverse sensor disconnected. Really all that's left, if you've gotten all the axles and all that stuff out of your way, there's nothing left to it. You've got a number of bolts, right? So your input shaft sitting there holding itself in. You've got these 2 dowels that hold the maintain to hold in. All right, so we're gonna go over bolts real quick and we'll see where we're at. All right, so reviewing that this is the motor here and this is your transmission, and you're on your passenger side looking down. All right, first and foremost, I believe the manufacturer recommends that you take care of your motor mount, and you can't get this off. You can get this here, you can get the main bolt off pretty easy, but you still have all this connected, this to the tranny. So you've got these studs. You take this nut off, it exposes your stud. Go ahead and take that stud out of the transmission, and you can double up your nut here, and then, you know, put one on top of this. Once you get this threaded down, double this up, crack it loose, unthread it from the housing of the transmission, and there's 3 of them. Get those out of your way. That'll make this much easier to just kind of remove. Once you've gotten this aluminum piece disconnected, you're going to have 3 of these little stubbies here. Right, you got the 3 stubbies, and those are mounted to the vehicle itself, onto the side of that vehicle. So boom, we're going to get those out. That frees this up, and then we can go on to all the rest of our bolts. So I did cover the stiffener. That is out of the way. The remaining bolts that hold this puppy together are going to be 2 on top. These are going to be way up on top that you can reach those, and I'll show you where. So these 2 are exactly the same, and those, you've got one here just above your starter, and then you got one on the opposite side right there. All right, now manufacturer recommends that you come back over here, and I believe your next step is to get these lowers out of your way. And this is a lower, but it's accessible from the top part of the vehicle. So we'll take this. These come from underneath, and if you look, they're the exact same. Right? So there we go. This one's the longest of all, and that one's just below the starter. And that's accessible from the top. These are accessible from the bottom. And then these are off of your rear engine mount. And if you're looking at the mount from underneath the vehicle, it should be at the top, midway, and the little one should be just right like that. And then I believe that should remove. I may have missed one or not covered something, but that'll free it up. It's free. It's hanging on your input shaft, and hopefully you've got something underneath. You could use a jack while you do all the bolts, get them all off, and then hopefully with a friend you can start wiggling it free, drop it down. Man, your vehicle's got to be pretty high up, and a lot of the components. What I do is I work it out and down. I lower my jack as far as I can, and then I've got my vehicle up pretty high, and I take this tension bar here, the front tensioner, the traction bar, and I wiggle it out of this space here, and I get it free there. I don't have to go completely under the car, which I have to add another 6 inches just to get it free, since my jack is not a low pro or anything on that puppy. That's made for something else, made for like your typical transmission out of, say, a Chevy or something. It's not even that nice, but we did it. We got it out. There's the condition. It's dirty, it's disgusting. We're going to clean it up. We'll replace those solid hydraulic lines. Looks like we're going to have to replace the slave cylinder. Wish I could have ordered that sooner. We'll have to wait for that, but we do have a stainless steel line. So on one of my next videos, we'll be covering the replacement from the firewall back all the way up to the master. So we'll get that swapped out. That's going to be a pain, but at least it won't be in the way for removing and installing. And we'll do another video here shortly. I'm going to drop this puppy. We're going to inspect it. You can see I've got some leakage, probably from the oil pan rear mainsail. Probably. Guaranteed. Alright, so if you have any questions, comments, like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys.